Nigeria TV, where we have news on politics, sports, entertainment, and so much more. Did you know that we also have feature stories where we talk about nothing but everything? It's the Breakfast Show on TSL Nigeria TV. Good morning, Nigeria. It's the Breakfast Show on TSL Nigeria TV, where we have news on politics, sports, entertainment, and so much more. Did you know that we also have feature stories where we talk about nothing but everything? It's the Breakfast Show on TSL Nigeria TV.
The best way to keep your weight day of going is to get it clean at work every day on the Breakfast Show. My name is Becky Moyo and I'm not alone in the studio sitting with me beautiful ladies, of course, looking really themselves this morning. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are we doing? Silver, I've missed you in sense.
Yeah, I miss you too. I'm really excited.
How was your night?
It was beautiful.
Thank you. Alright, so going straight into the newspaper review for this morning, I have with me the Vanguard for June 20th, 2019, and leading the stories, kidnappers and rampage. Passengers boat hijacked along the east-west road in Rivers, 14 adopted. Hunters joined police, military in search of ex-minister Adewale adopted son. Zamfara APC Guber candidates border kidnapped by bandits with green freedom. And that's a good one. And bring perpetrators of Taraba's killing to book, can't tell security chiefs. Story on page 5. And also leading another story, we may register 200 political parties for 2023 elections. INEC cries out. 10 of 169 coal control 77.2% stock market capitalization. And another story, thugs invade hotel, beat up Oshomole's brother and other lawmakers elect. How Obaseki and Oshomole's rift divides assembly. That's a hot one, if do. And last for our picture story, from left to right, we have the Group Managing Director of First Bank of Nigerian Holdings, Mr. Urom Eke, the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, representative of the Vice President and Director General Budget, Mr. Ben Akabweze, founder Zenith Bank PLC, Mr. Jim Ovia, and country's senior partner PwC Nigeria, Mr. Uyi Akpata, during the cutting of the tape to launch the PwC Experience Center at Victoria Island, Lagos yesterday. And sports, we have I regret ever making £198 million move to France. Neymar says Messi asks Barcelona to resign Neymar. Lots of stories this morning. What do we have for The Guardian?
Yeah, I have for The Guardian, June 20th, 2019. On the top story, we have court nullifies Kaduna's bill to regulate pastors. It's El Rufai's excesses being exposed. We will appeal verdict, says state government, and delivering judgment late is no issues, lawyers argue. And for our picture story, we have non-executive director Stanbic IBTC Bank Ifeoma Esiri left chief executive Yinka Sani chairman, board of directors, and Basil Omiyi and company secretary Chidi Okezie at the 7th annual general meeting of Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC in Lagos yesterday. And then we also have Don't Panic, we are Ebola free, FG assures Nigerians. Lagos suspect test negative, discharge. Agency says country better prepared in 2014 than in 2014. Issues advice on prevention, spread of disease. And then also we have Buhari orders security agents to end Taraba attacks. News on page 3. And then for the last one, we have Navy destroys 70 illegal refineries, arrests 38 suspects, seizes tankers. News on page 3. And for sports, we have Eagles ready for African Nations Cup war, says will be.
Go Eagles.
Yeah, also have Nigerian Observer.
Okay.
And then for Nigerian Observer, we have court once against disrupting peace in Edo. And then drainage, Edo government approves 9 billion contract for GRA. And then we also have EDHA speaker gives 24-hour quick notice to illegal occupants. And for sport, a Semota under 13 football competition kicks off July 14th. That's it for the Observer.
Alright, Simba, let's go into the Nigerian Tribune.
So for the Nigerian Tribune for 20th of June, Thursday, 2019, again, federal government tackles Obasanjo, says he owes Nigerians explanation for his absence from the June 12th ceremony. Senate under me won't be rubber stamped, says Lawan. Ex-health minister's son regains freedom, how he was kidnapped, traditional rulers. You can find that story on page 30. For the picture story from left, Group Managing Director, First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, Mr. Uru Eke. Director General, Budget Office, Mr. Ben Akabwezi. Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Founder, Zenith Bank PLC, Mr. Jim Ovia. And the country's senior partner, PwC Nigeria, Mr. Oyi Apata, during the launching of PwC Experience Center at Victoria Island on Wednesday. Will resist attempts to subjugate Middle Belt, Southern Nigeria, Middle Belt Forum. You can find that story on page 8. Kogi traditional rulers represent Bello to Buhari for second term. And for the sports news, AFCON will be like a war, says Obi. For more stories, you can get the Tribune from your local vendor.
Alright, wrapping up the newspaper review, we would not say a goodbye without, of course, Mr. and Mrs. Today, Mrs. says, I stumbled on a document in your briefcase that confirmed you were given 50,000 naira as Bodinobi firewood allowance on your last business trip. I don't want to know what the phrase stands for. Just let me have the money or tell me how you spent it with receipts.
She's not smiling.
Mr. didn't even say anything. He's just looking at her
He could
like.
not possibly have said anything. He needs to explain himself what he did with 50,000 naira.
And that is how we have for the newspaper review. Do also go to your local vendors and pick up your newspapers and you get full details of today's headlines. Now, like we always do it on the breakfast show, we give you history for every day in 365 days in the year. Today, June 20th, we're celebrating the International World Refugees Day. Now, refugee is a person that has been forced out of their homes or to leave their countries due to war, persecution, or the likes. Now, on the 4th December 2000, the United Nations Assembly in Resolutes decided that for 2000, 20th of June would be celebrated as the World Refugee Day. African Refugee Day has been formally celebrated in several countries prior to 2000, but the UN noted that the Organization of African Unity, OAU, had agreed to have the International Refugee Day collide with the African Refugee Day. Now, we've seen that in recent times we've had lots of wars, especially in the Middle East, and we see that a lot of people have been displaced from their home, and this is why we've had lots of refugee camps, like increasing refugee camps all over the world. And today we're celebrating people that have lost their home. Really a sad one, but we are glad that they have provisions and people are really doing so well, NGOs, to reach out to refugees all over the world. Alright, we've come to the segment, the end of this segment of the breakfast show. We're going to go on a quick break. When we return on our feature story, looking at one of the most important parts of entertainment industry. I'm talking about Nigerian film industry, Nollywood. We're going to be doing a throwback to the past and the present, and of course, maybe doing predictions on the futuristic side of Nollywood. Stick around. It's still the breakfast show on TSL Nigeria TV. Don't go anywhere.
to TSL Nigeria and get updates on the go all day, every day. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on TSL Nigeria Space TV and join our online family.
On TSL Nigeria TV. My name is Adria Omegedi. Now, one of the things that shaped our childhood growing up as children is watching Nollywood movies. And Nollywood movies those days was a hit back to back, and it was really exciting. It was entertaining. It was creative, and so much has happened that has shaped the Nigerian movie industry as a result of those movies of back then. Today we are doing a throwback on the Nigerian movies, and we're just going to dive in straight. But before we do that, we have a guest with us and said good morning.
Good morning.
It's very good to have you. Her name is Ruth Okoro. It's very good to have you on set. Ruth, could you just talk about yourself and tell us?
Okay, good morning, everybody.
You look really beautiful.
You
Like I'm just feeling the whole.
When I
just
saw
feel
you this
big.
morning, I was like, oh.
Okay, she's watching me right now.
No,
It's about you. It's about you, not about me. Don't put me as
I
the
still have to
spotlight.
compliment you.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Ruth Okoro. I'm an MC, a red carpet host, and I also deal on Nigerian handmade shoes for men. Yes, men, children, and women.
Amazing. So how do you do it? Before we get to do the conversation of today, like how do you do it? It's rare, not rare. It's rare to see a female, being a cobbler in this part of the world.
Yeah.
So how do you do it?
Okay, I'm not actually the one making them for now.
Okay.
I have people making them for me.
Okay.
Yes.
So you do the transactions.
That
Wow.
is,
And it's been amazing.
it's been amazing.
So maybe after the show, you just drop this one before we leave.
Alright, so we move straight to the conversation. Ladies, now we had movies those days that excited us. Let's talk about the movies of the old days, the ones that made your childhood memorable. I can talk about one. I remember watching Living in Bondage. I don't know if you guys watched it, but we had movies like
I don't want to look like I wasn't born. I know Living in Bondage.
You know Living in Bondage? Okay, let me say another one. We had Karashika. You at least heard about Karashika at some point.
Yes.
Like, you didn't hear about
I
Karashika?
did. Don't make me look like a young one here. I did.
Okay, so we had movies like that. I want us to talk about. Okay, so talk about the movies you watched as growing up as a child that made your childhood memorable. Silver.
I don't know. I don't really know the names, but I watched a lot of Nigerian movies. I think the most exciting thing about the Nigerian movies I watched, they made me learn. I don't know. I became better. I was scared. I was excited.
Every Nigerian child was scared. We hated the dark.
I won't even be able to sleep at night.
Are you serious?
But then I thank God for Nigerian movies because we learned moral lessons, etiquette, how to be a proper Nigerian.
Yeah. It's all the movies that made your childhood memorable.
Alice, my first lady.
My first lady.
Alice, my first lady.
Alice, my
I saw
first
that
lady.
one.
Okay,
The
yeah.
one that doesn't show her. And she was under a spell.
Oh.
Yeah.
When it was casted on her when she was actually 11, but she didn't know. She didn't know.
See everybody.
Becky. What made you? You know, I said some and you said no.
No, it's just like I don't know. When we talk about throwback, yeah, it makes me ask myself what kind of movies did I really watch when I was way younger. And I'm trying to remember, but I can't remember. But I remember the effects they left on me a lot. Now, as a child growing up, we're afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
You know, we're really afraid of the dark. When you just stand in the night, I put the blanket on. Oh God, especially in the night when you've watched all the scary movies, and you just heard your sister. Don't leave this bed. Just be with me on the bed.
when they take light,
Take the light. You said, Mommy, did you call my name?
Yeah.
You know, those were the effects.
And your siblings try to scare you like, oh.
pinpoint the particular ones that I know that. But I watched. There were lots, like I said, but. Looking at throwbacks when we were a little bit much more younger, Nigerian film industry is a very much more integrated part of our culture. You can't say you didn't watch some certain movies in the 90s, started from the 20s, and then you say that you've not been imbibed in one way or the other. Because the truth is, what you watch most times, there's a perception you get from movies. Like whatever these days they tell you, be careful of what you see, be careful of what you watch, because your mindset is being formed. And as children, then the movies we were watching were molding mindset. We watched movies that if you go out and they give you food to eat, your mommy did not need to tell you.
Yeah.
Eyes. Your mommy just gives you the eye,
and then you remember that you watched a movie that something happened, and then
you were initiated by 12 o'clock. But the truth is, those movies, they kind of, in as much as we want to say, those days, we should look at the good side. They instilled some very values in us. We knew respect, we knew boundaries with people. Sometimes some people might not have food in their house, but they'll just try to be cautious to you and polite, and you just say no, I'm not interested. It builds a lot of mindsets, and so that's it.
Okay, so now moving on. One of the things that happened with Nigerian movie industry is that those days we had very, very interesting actors. We had people like Peter Dochi, we had Norbert Young, we had Jacobs.
If these names they are mentioned, you are not born. Please greet us as aunties. You just say good morning, man.
So we had those kind of people, and now we're seeing them again in these recent times. They kind of shaped the way the Nollywood industry, movie industry in Nigeria is right now. They're really good case setters. I want to talk about how we thought about those actors those days, how the impact we felt they had on us.
Okay, for me, basically, the actors of those days, they were authentic, they were real, there were a lot of originalities, because most of the stories and movies that were acted were out of books. You talked about Edochie. It was Okonkwo of The Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. So it was just authentic. They were real. They showed us a lot of. I'm not Igbo, but I could literally know what the Igbos they wear as their costumes due to movies. The Igbo forest, the legendary Igbo forest, and all of that. So it's the olden days, or the back then in those days, they used what they had to pass messages, to their audience, and we were able to relate with things that they used. Not like now that we have the social media. Then there was no social media, but we were able to relate to a lot of things. We learned so much, like Silva said, on moral lessons, and how to imbibe and how to grow in the Nigerian culture and society. And so we cannot say the new Nollywood, we cannot remove the old Nollywood from this present new Nollywood, because the old Nollywood is actually an offshoot of this present Nollywood that we see.
Ruth, would you have to say something about the past Nollywood actors and how they have affected the movie industry in Nigeria?
Okay, let me talk about Kanayo.
Okay.
Whenever I watched these movies back then, I used to be very, very scared. Like, if I'm sitting down, I'll be thinking, God, if I meet people whom they use me as
Which
God, but as I begin to grow up, I realized that wasn't the case.
Okay,
Nobody would just come and catch me and use me for rituals just like that. And that actually helped my childhood a lot, because I became very, very careful when I watched his movies. As a child, I became extremely careful. Me and my siblings became very, very careful. But now, as a result of the movies back then, it has exposed my relationship with people. I no longer get worried that somebody can just take me. I just have to talk and relate very well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Alright, so moving forward to the next one. Now, I want us to do a comparison between the past and the present. Now, the Nollywood movies, I know the pictures have changed. Pictures definitely have changed. The hairstyles have changed. the dress sense has changed.
The currency.
Like, everything has changed in Nollywood.
Juju has changed.
Now, remember movies like It's Akaba, that they had Odechi.
That when they flog us in school, like Odechi, not enter.
to bone cane.
Yeah.
They'll flog you and you say, I beg
Just
you."
dish.
we had such movies, and when I was a child, I watched a lot of Nigerian movies. I would say I had it because if you grew up in Benin City, we had every Sunday watching Nollywood movies, and it was so interesting that we anticipated the time. One of the things that I loved about Nigerian movies was as much as it created a mindset.
Yes.
I knew I always had to hold my elder sister and say, "You're not leaving here. I'm going to ease myself. You follow me to the bathroom. You follow me back." You used to annoy my sister. But you see, it shaped a mindset. Now I want to talk about. I know how movies were those days. Sometimes it got to a point we stopped watching Nigerian movies because we felt they didn't give us what we would get from Western movies. So like a big no more Nigerian movies. But Nigerian movies have improved. We had very interesting movies. So let's do a contrast between the past and the present. Let's talk about past movies and present movies. What has improved?
I think basically between now and then it's just globalization.
Okay, yes.
Improvement. The world is evolving, so Nigerian movies are evolving too. Sceneries are changing, but I think basically the storyline is still the same. You still find them educating children on the dangers of following bad friends,
Yes.
ritualists and all. So the storyline is the same, but scenes have changed. Younger actors are coming up, and then improvement. But I still think that the moral lessons that have been that were tried to be passed, from the past, is still what's
Still
there
stays now.
in the present.
Morals
Yes.
are past and still
Yes.
things. But
So basically, the problem with Nigerian movies now is, I think, we the individuals, because most people now feel they are too good for Nigerian movies. You'll be in a room with about 20 people, and then it's just 5 people that are watching Nigerian movies. I have a friend who says Nigerian movies reduces my IQ.
Okay, yes, I've heard that.
heard that too.
Why? I've heard that.
It's not fair. Yeah,
It's not fair, but I've had it. I had it when I was in school, when I was in 300 level. I had a roommate. Then her friend usually comes around. She studies pharmacy. So when she comes and we're talking, and she's like, "We don't do Nigerian movies in my house." And I'm like, "Okay, why?" She said, "My mom says it reduces our IQ."
Oh,
And I'm like,
okay.
"Okay." But the truth is, I have to. I don't know how to do it. Why is Nigeria? Support your own. Of course, support your own, but it should be something worth supporting.
Yes.
And to some extent, there's a truth. I think doing the contrast of what happened within the past and the present is growth. There's been a lot of growth. A lot of Nigerian writers, producers, content providers, and creators, they went abroad to study.
Yeah.
Especially in New York film industry. A lot of them went to study, they went to know the art of filming, the art of directing, production, writing of scripts, knowing who to use for a particular role and all of that. And that changed. And they understood that Nigerians as an audience, they wanted more. Times are changing. We're not having the millennials and the Gen Zs as audience, and you don't want to put something after all, they'll start making comparison with the Western world. When we see horror movies, the children don't run. Why do Nigerian children run in horror movies here? So a lot changed. And also, one of the things that I appreciate Nigerian film industry for is employment.
Yeah.
Currently, the World Bank says that we've employed about 1 million people annually, and we make $520 million in a year.
Wow.
Because in a day, 50 movies are produced. From either the Yoruba, Nollywood or the Kannywood, which is the Hausa filmmaking industry of Nigeria, or the Asaba movies. The movies are being made. It means people are always on the job, people are working. And now that the industry is expanding, we see that people no longer go abroad to rent in materials. We have companies that rent, they rent the drones, they rent those things that fly in the air and takes perfect views. Basically. So the Nigerian film industry just I don't want to act.
Don't want to act, but I've really ventured into it. You're thinking about it. Alright, so Carol, what do you think has improved?
Okay, I would say socially, like in the past, it's all about people, maybe your friends coming to your house, you have to sit on the floor,
Watch through the window.
while you're watching, you're eating your Sunday rice.
Yeah.
It was a tradition, every Sunday it must be rice. Okay, and then parents would buy this CDs, but right now it's online.
Yeah.
You can go to YouTube,
Watch
watch movies, download them. or you just follow this Iroko TV and the likes. And back then, no cinemas.
Yeah, now we have.
But right now there are cinemas, so you can just walk into the cinema, grab a popcorn, a Coke or any other drink, and socialize with other people too while you're watching it on a very big screen. I think that has really helped to shaping the way things are right now.
Okay.
Yes.
As we're running up this conversation, I want to talk about what do we think is the way forward? What do we see for the future of Nollywood movies? Neki.
Okay, Nollywood is like the third biggest after Hollywood and Bollywood. You know, because the truth is Nigerians are hard workers. Take it or leave it. You put people Nigerians in Iceland, they are making so much. So the thing is, the future of Nollywood, you know, it lies on a lot, because the truth is the entertainment industry in Nigeria is generating so much revenue for a country without little or no support from the government. You know, so I feel that now, because of the way stories are going, a lot of banks and financial institutions are partnering with movie makers to produce, you know, movies, and we see that in the box office they are hitting lots of millions. And so we just pray that the government, you know, should just have lots of investment, should invest in the entertainment industry, because look at it, people are really creating. It's keeping people not do a whole lot of social vices. You know, people want to act movies, people want to be filmmakers, producers, you know, and just be at the back of the camera, just creating beautiful pictures for the Nigerian audience. So if the government is watching, they should just invest. We need more investors, you know, to grow. We need to have our own film festival. Yes, you know, like in a year we could have lots of film short movies, long movies. You know, people come from different parts of Nigeria and they are awarded for their good job. And so.
Alright, so it's been very wonderful on The Breakfast Show today, talking about the past and the present Nollywood movies. Now, if you were watching this show, you join us on our YouTube channel as we talk about so much more. Now, follow us on YouTube, TSL Nigeria TV. Thank you very much, Silva, for joining us on set. Thank you, Neki, for always bringing it all for us and giving us so much information. Thank you, Ruth, for joining us on set.
And I don't forget the shoes.
And so thank you to viewers for watching. It's a bye for now.